Hello and welcome to the first iteration of the Pitch and Pass podcast. I am your host, Sal Assante. I am a former athlete playing baseball all the way up to the collegiate level over at Raritan Valley Community College in my home state of New Jersey. Played football all the way up to the varsity level. I know that's a real big winner, but hey, helps me be a fan of the sports that I love. Two teams that I love, which really are hurting me right now, both the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys. And that's going to be the primary goal of this show is to show to you, the viewer, just the downfall of two of the greatest franchises, I think, in American sports history. And with the help of one of my best friends, produced by Daniel, help of, been on a lot of my podcasts before. If you haven't seen We the Patriots podcast, as well as Danny's Sport Talk, we're going to get at this together. He's going to keep me on track. And without any further ado, let's get into episode number 1. I am a sports fanatic. If those of you that don't know me, those of you that do know me, I will say, those that listen to We the Patriots probably got tired of me talking sports. I know I talked about it ad nauseum for a while, but it is really a center pole of my life, right? I've been playing sports probably since the age of 3 or 4 years old. I remember like it was yesterday. One day, my dad came home from a trip, and it was a vacation. I want to say out to Colorado or some random place, but all of a sudden he comes back with a bag of balls and a bat. I didn't really know what this was, but we go out to the backyard, and I couldn't tell you how long we spent out there. Probably 4, 5, 6 hours in a row, just hitting, learning how to throw. All of a sudden, I could not get over it. We lost all the balls that day. Had to go get a bucket the next week and figure out how to work this new sport into my life that was already chaotic as a 4 or 5 year old at the time. But that's how I remember falling in love with sports. And another big part of it is watching my dad, who gave me these crappy teams to look after. And all he would do is, especially back in the day with the Cowboys, he would look at the team and just expect dominance, like expect the best of these teams. And obviously that transferred to me as a kid, wishing that the Cowboys would be a hell of a lot better than they are right now. But I've been living in this life watching these two teams since basically that age, 4, 5, 6 years old, growing up. Everybody around me, I'm living in the New Jersey area, is a Yankees fan and a Giants fan, or a Mets fan and a Jets fan, right? So they hate my guts. And the only thing I have to say for it is, yeah, we got a bunch of championships in the 90s. I'm tired of it. I gotta just be honest with you. I'm tired of it. All right. So before we get too deep into it, I did just want to do a little bit of a cover episode. And I think I'll start that by doing a little bit of a brief overlook of both teams. That's the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys. And I want to start just real quick first with the New York Yankees. Reason being is I love baseball like there's no tomorrow. It is if I had to choose something that God could make me good at so I could never stop doing it, it would be baseball. I seriously think that the amount of time that you could spend losing yourself in the stats, losing yourself in the history, it's something that it's just never lost on me, right? So baseball for the Yankees over the past, let's say, 2 decades, maybe going back to the 90s, right? Other than 2009, we have not really had a successful season, really. We've made a couple of championships. We haven't really made World Series and lost. It's been 2009 and bust, really. And as a Yankees fan, it doesn't really feel right when you hear people like my father's generation or people like my cousins who got to watch them as kids, watch the 90s Yankees. It doesn't feel right to call this team dominant or say that this is the best team in history, given the fact that they have 27 World Series championships. Calling this claim to be the best team in history, it doesn't feel right as a younger generation Yankee fan. And one of the biggest issues that I see, and I know Danny sees too, we pay attention, we watch a lot of the same ball, is a complete lack of ownership of the issues, right? When someone, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a player, is failing to get the job done, it's kind of a pat on the ass, excuse my language, and we're going to keep on going, same strategy next week, right? And another thing is putting your head in the sand when it comes to, I guess you could say, analytics nowadays. And I hate using those words because it's really just looking at stats on paper. But using your departments with so much money to spend and spending yourself into the ground, right? Stuff that analytics that just don't make any sense, right? You're not producing runs and you're not stopping them either. So something's wrong with your statistics, right? And you can go on and on about that, but to me, it's just a pervasive mindset of trying too hard instead of doing the thing that the Yankees are always known at doing, which is winning, going out and getting players that want to win and spending money to do so, not being afraid to put their wallet out in front of where their mouth is, right? Speaking of wanting to be a dynasty, right? How did Danny? What the hell did they said? They say like the evil empire is back this offseason, or what did Cashman say? That ridiculous quote. Evil empire's back. Yeah, we're gonna go get 1 year of Soto, and then we're gonna ride out Marcus Stroman, right? So these are the type of moves that we're talking about. We'll get a little bit deeper into depth with the next episode, and next episode I'll be doing a deep dive into the Yankees, what happened last year, as well as our future going forward. What I think is not only the issues going on, but do we have any hope? All right. And I'll just keep it short and brief for this episode. The hopes are grim. Hopes are grim. Yes. Fully operational Death Star. So the full quote from Cashman, we are a fully operational Death Star. And we have missed out on Yamamoto to this point. Snell. We've also missed out on any sort of bat from free agency that might help us. Of course, we got Soto by trade, so you can't say we got nothing. But, big but there. There's a lot left to be desired. And watching the Yankees last year, the biggest issue was not run prevention. It was run scoring, without a doubt. It was run scoring, getting runs on the board, and giving your pitchers a position to win the ball game. But like I said, we'll get deeper into that when we go into that Yankee-specific episode. For this moment, now I want to change gears over to football a little bit, because this is a loss that weighs on my heart a little bit more recently, and I'm actually seething about it. Now, Danny here does not relate to me in this fact. He is an Eagles fan when he watches football, so he had a little bit worse of a time, I think, when he ended his season last week. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to make myself feel better. Listen, the Cowboys blew, I think, their best chance at, you never want to say there's a Super Bowl lock, right? So you never go that far. But I do think this was their best chance to get into the NFC Championship and have a damn good chance at winning the game, right? I think this was, without a doubt, their most talented roster they've had in years. I think there was a lot of bonding that went well within that team, and there's a lot of growth that happened over the year. And it was sad to see in the last couple of weeks, because, they were riding pretty hot, I think, until, what was it, the Bills loss? I'm going to say it was the Bills loss where, not that they should have won, but there's no reason that they should have lost that game, right? And then you're heading into a few different weeks where you get, I don't want to say lucky wins, but you probably should have won by a hell of a lot more than you did. And you have that kind of feeling amongst your team that, I don't know if we can do this. Doesn't matter who we're going up against. Doesn't matter if it's Packers. Doesn't matter if it's the 49ers. Whoever we're going up against on the other side of the field is probably more well prepared and wants this more than us. And that's what the kind of the picture you saw on the sideline of the loss against the Packers a couple of weeks ago from the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so you saw, I want to say, might have been even before the game started, you saw a look of panic on Dak Prescott's face. And whenever you see that look, you see rushed passes, you see passes that are, you like to say, oh, that's not him anymore, right? Oh, he's moved past that. He's better than that now. In reality, the guy always shuts down when pressure hits, all right? And I'm not saying pressure as in people coming and trying to sack him. I'm saying the pressure of a big game. All right, when you're going against an opponent who either has a winning record or who has a lot of fight in them, a very physical team, possibly bigger than you, and the Dallas Cowboys are a kind of undersized team, a little athletic, but undersized in general, that is where the Cowboys absolutely struggle. All right, do not have too many big bodies. We don't have people who are going to bully people around. We get bullied around, right? And it's unfortunate that although we get bullied around, we're also one of the most penalized teams because of our lack of discipline. All right. And it's one of those it's one of those tie-ins that I think is going to become very, very common as we continue to do this show together. Is the Yankees and the Cowboys have a lot of similarities, and one of those is the mindset, right? Not holding people accountable, especially when it comes to management, right? When you talk about 3 straight 12-win seasons and all you have to show for it is one playoff victory, right? I think you need to do some looking in the mirror and who's the issue here. Because you look at the talent on the roster, right? There's no excuses. Now, it's not to be said that they're the most talented roster in the NFL, but for them to be going out in the first round of the playoffs, something's wrong. Not necessarily with the players. Now, I do have a gripe with the players too. As you heard me mention a little bit before, Dak Prescott has a real issue when it comes to games in pressure, right? How are you supposed to win a Super Bowl? How are you supposed to win any meaningful game, let alone a Super Bowl, without a quarterback who's willing to lead you through those moments where even he's not on his best game, let alone the rest of your team? All right. And then you add on top of that your 2 most impactful players of the year, Micah Parsons, who did absolutely squat that game. I don't even know if he got a pressure on the quarterback. And then you also had CeeDee Lamb, who I witnessed a few different drops, but honestly, it was the same thing as Dak. It was a scared look on his face, and it was a look like we don't belong in this football game with the Packers. You combine this all together with a staff who's lacking any sort of accountability in the sense that their job is never hanging in the balance because of poor performance. Well, you just have a culture that is going to continue to lose. And I'm not sure if you saw this, Danny, so I hope I'm bringing this up. You saw, last thing I want to bring up here is the Cowboys put out something it was actually the Cowboys cheerleaders, right? And they put out some sort of feeler out, and it was an article that was written about the fact that the Green Bay Packers players were mean to them as they were scoring touchdowns and stuff, like coming up and taunting them and stuff. And it's like, that to me, now I know exactly how Cowboys fans feel, like we're getting attacked constantly every single day, but that is exactly Jerry Jones's playbook. Jerry Jones's playbook is to stay in the media the longest, make the most money by being talked about the most, and have his analysts getting in on shows and pitching his ideas or getting his leaks out there in ways that are profitable to him. Okay? Our whole franchise's mindset, and this is from the top down, is about how do we make the most money long term? All right, how do we make this business, which is this massive franchise, is worth, what is it worth now? Over $10 billion is the Cowboys worth? They evaluate it as that, right? You have something worth that much money, basically, you don't have any reason to focus on any other goal except for to continue that growth gravy train of money making. I don't see any change coming up soon. And to be honest, I think the biggest change that would be able to be made that will never be made is Jerry Jones got to stop being the GM. All right. Get out of his own way. We all know it's not going to happen, but I got a clarification from Danny. We are worth $9 billion as a franchise, the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm going to cut that episode off here. This is just the intro. We're going to get a heck of a lot deeper into the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Yankees coming up in the next couple episodes. Let me know what you thought about this. I want you to share it, like it. Let everybody know that if you enjoy me talking about sports or you just want to just dunk on my takes, I don't mind at all. All right, especially if you're one of my friends that's a Cowboys fan and disagree with me, think that we should keep everybody and pat them all on the ass. I want to hear it. If you think that we should just keep this train going of losing in the playoffs in the first and second round and being happy with the fact that we might get an MVP every other year if it's possible, I'm not okay. So other than that, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'll see you on episode number 2. We will be hitting the Yankees longer form. Sal, Danny, out.